Hello, it's Thursday night, Queensland time. Just gone past 1 minute past 7 o'clock. And of course, it's 1 minute past 9 in the land of the long white cloud. 10 o'clock in the morning over there in the UK to our supporters and friends over there. And tonight, my co-host, Julia Baby, you just see on the top left-hand corner, has introduced Carolyn Milne. We had Carolyn on about 2.5 months ago, and it was such an outstanding success that we've got her to come back on tonight to talk about souls. And because of Carolyn's love and her connection with angels and archangels, and I hand it back to you, Julia. You're onto it.
Yeah, welcome everyone. Welcome Carolyn, and welcome dear listeners. Good to have you join us on the show again. And yes, angels and archangels, I certainly can't get enough of them. So whenever I get the chance to invite someone like Carolyn or listen to someone who I know channels them very clearly and selflessly, so without mixing her own stories into it, then just always all ears. So welcome on the show, Carolyn.
Thank you very much, Julia. And Jeff, it's a pleasure to be here again. And we've got Archangel Jophiel with us tonight. So it should be a really good show.
Okay.
Archangel Jophiel is going to tell us about souls and how to connect with them.
Well, who's Jophiel?
He's an angel that I haven't heard a great deal about, but he's been coming through to me for a few years, and his role at this time is to introduce humanity through their soul to the divine, so that they have that divine connection again through their soul, which everybody can have, everybody's entitled to, but we seem to have shut that down. With modern day living and whatnot, it seems to have gone completely. So now everybody can reconnect to their soul. And I don't need to tell you, Per, how to do this. You're obviously well acquainted with your own souls, but a lot of people aren't. A lot of people have no idea, and no idea that they do have this spark of divinity that is their right, that connects them directly to the divine. And they can talk to their angels, to God Almighty, to whoever it is that they worship or revere or need at that time.
Mm. Yeah, I agree with you. It's about knowing that the message that we all have that spark of divinity within ourselves, and that we don't need anybody else to put it in there or connect it for us, that it's a part of us. That is actually a huge paradigm shift. In many religious traditions, that's not actually a given, is it?
Yes, but there are a lot of religions where it is a given. A lot of the Eastern philosophies and different types of shamanism do have it as a given. But it's our Western society in particular has shut it down. And I'm not sure that it's so much a fault of religion or the interpretation of religion. I'm not sure how that came about, but it is definitely detrimental to people not to realise that they have this big soul connection, because that's a big soul connection. When you are connected and you're relating to the divine on a daily basis, you are so much more fulfilled. You are never alone. All these people who are saying how lonely they are and that they've got nothing to do and no connections, and I relish those times, because they're the times when I can get stuck right into having big discussions with the angels and the ascended masters. I love being isolated because that's when I can do the deep work. And this is what people should be doing now. If they're in isolation, they've got no friends, no contacts, they're feeling lonely, why not talk to your greatest friends of all, your dearly beloved, your guardian angels, who are there for you every minute of every day? A very profound thing they told me, the guardian angels, was if you're an axe murderer on death row and not even your mother will speak to you anymore, your guardian angels are still there with you. That's how much they love you. It's quite incredible, isn't it? Sorry, Julie, I interrupted you.
No, that's fine. That was good for us to hear. So I was just going to ask, because I often have these conversations with people. Number one is, how do you go about connecting, and number two is, how do you know you're not imagining it?
Good questions. Very good questions. Faith is a big part of this, and you do have to have faith. But the more you do this, the more faith you will have, and you will know. You will know in your heart. So this is something that Javiel has just come through and told me about. This is the last lesson that he is giving me, is that there is a process that you can follow to reach your soul, to get that message, to meet that messenger. So first thing he says to do is to be very clear. There's no point trying to do it if you've been out all night in a den of iniquity. You come back with all the evil that you picked up and dreadful negative emotions and all sorts of things. And you're not going to be able to go there. You're not going to be able to quieten your mind. There's going to be this dirty cloud across. So first thing you've got to do is clear yourself. Now, there's a million different ways to do it, but none of them do it as well as the angels do. So Joviel came in yesterday to me and gave me a bit of a lecture, because I was trying to channel him and I wasn't completely clear. So the message wasn't completely clear and I wasn't getting it entirely right. So he said, you must clear yourself before you start. So he took me then and took me up to the angelic realms and dropped me in this beautiful angelic blue pool. And this water in this pool just washes everything away to the deepest levels, right down to your cellular memory, just absolutely everything. And then you can come back completely clear, and then you can do your work. He said, call upon me if you need clearing. Call upon me to do this clearing for you. And he does do it very, very well. Of course, Archangel Michael will also do it, any of the archangels or guardian angels. Lots of ascended masters will give you a very good clearing if you ask for it. So then we've done that part of it. We're nice and clear and focused. But then you've also got to put aside some time. You've got to not try and do it while the kids are playing around you or while the television's blurring in the background. You've got to be very, very quiet and have a space where you can shut out the world. This is important for your focus. So try to have a space, try to be focused. And then, of course, you do have to actually shut out the world. And that's very hard because there's so much going on around us. It is such a busy world just now.
Someone's busy in the background.
Yeah, it sounds like somebody's washing up the dishes.
Can I just fix that background noise? I won't be a second.
So, Jeff, it sounds like there's a brewing pool, and we're just asking the archangels to help us just drop us into that pool and clear it.
Free phone call.
Yeah. There you go. Happens to me as well.
Does it? I think one of the hardest things is toxic relationships, isn't it?
Yeah, it's about.
Sorry about that.
No worries. But just talking about, being able to find that space, clear space. And I always remember being very amused about when the G20 was on, and I think President Putin and Obama were coming out to Brisbane, and they're all speculating about whether he really brings that cone of silence with him. So we're just sort of going to invoke that cone of silence for us and the listeners. If you've got a toxic relationship, just create that cone of silence.
Yeah.
All right. So you were saying, Carolyn, that this is all quite hot off the press. Archangel Joviel was talking to you this week, and it's how to connect.
And I still haven't got my quiet place. Still got the noise. Sorry about that.
All right. And so the first step is to, not to visit a den of iniquity. I presume you mean like.
But I don't know what I mean. But if you're out partying all weekend, or I don't know what you do for amusement. But yeah, whatever. Just a minute. I'll have another go.
Hey, Helseville recruit. Hey, so how did you find Carolyn in the first place?
Carolyn does Reiki.
Yeah.
She actually is in a Reiki group, and she also does the online training for the rainbow energy. I was quite interested in that because it sounded a bit like it was related to the Qigong. So I subscribed for that, and then I got to know Carolyn.
Oh,
Sorry, that was my 91-year-old father enjoying his curried sausages.
Right.
Sorry.
Oh, no, that's all right. All right.
live radio. That's what it's about.
Live radio, exactly.
Yeah.
All right. So Archangel Jophiel, and then the thread was basically clear yourself, dedicate time, be still, and then set the intent. So the intent being to
Whatever you want, whatever you want. Some people are desperate for healing. Some people are feeling confused or lost. Other people want to move up with their spiritual path. They want to take the next step. They want to evolve or even transcend or ascend. So it just depends on what it is that you need in your life at that moment. A lot of people are looking for romance, joy, relationships, peace. Who doesn't want peace? Peace is so important.
Yeah, and I think we don't often realize how much stimulus we've got inside and outside of us that we kind of have to clear the space and come to the center and create a blank space from which we can start off again. Otherwise, we're just trapped on an eternal roundabout trying to work out which exit to take out.
On the merry-go-round.
Yeah, then you can look at a flame and draw that flame into your heart and follow it into your heart and see that flame into your soul, which is just below your heart or just behind your heart, depending on which spiritual belief systems you're following. Pull that flame in, see it in the beautiful dome of your soul, or you can do some nice deep breathing and follow the breath down till you find your soul. The deep breathing is very good and can work in conjunction with a flame, but other people will have other methods of reaching that really quiet space where they can see and feel. So this is the hard bit. You do have to do all that preparation before you can come to this point. This is the point that a lot of people get stuck at. But I can assure you, if you keep practicing, you will find it. Some people need to have someone explain it and talk them through it. I can help a lot of people reach this space with a nice meditation, talking them through where they're going, or I can have the angels take them there. And that's another way you can do it. You can call your angels and ask them to take you to your soul. The angels are always there for you. And this is what Jophiel has said. If you need to find your soul, if you want to find your soul, just call upon me and I will take you there. It is that easy. So don't be frustrated. Don't think that you're not good enough. Don't think that you can't do it. I'm a very ignorant, young, old country girl with little education and absolutely no spiritual background. Religious, yes, I was an Anglican, but no spiritual background. I've had no teacher. So when I first started on my spiritual path, I used to pray for a teacher, for a master to show me the way. And the Divine Father came in and said, you will have no other teacher but me. So I've had to struggle on my own. So a lot of the things that you will know from your esoterical teachings, I don't know. Now, if I can reach this point where I can channel the angels, there is no reason why anybody else in the world can't do it. You don't need a master to be able to do it. It does help, I'm sure. You don't need a religion. You don't need a particular diet. You don't need to abstain from anything. You just have to be a good person and try hard. Be patient. Anybody can do it.
So thank you for that encouragement, Carolyn. And just going back to the start of the conversation when you shared with us that Archangel Jophiel was wanting to, had explained that there is a process to connecting to the soul. So just recapping from what you're saying, it's basically create that quiet space and then ask the angels to clear you. And then what the third step would be just to ask the angels to take you to the soul. Is that it?
Do the flame thing, do the breathing thing, do a nice deep meditation, then ask, and they will be there. And then you can quieten your mind to hear what they say. And try not to be too judgmental. You're not going to see some great vision straight away in front of you. Well, you might, I hope you do, but it's unlikely that you're going to get a really big, clear vision straight away. It may take time, and the visions may get slowly brighter and stronger. Right at the beginning, I didn't have, well, I had a vision when I was a child, but when I started back on my journey when I was about 50, I didn't have any big visions. I didn't have any big sights. I did do lovely meditations and see lovely things. But when I first realised that I was channeling, I was sitting by the fire one day with some friends having a cup of tea and looking into the flames and talking to them. And suddenly my voice changed and I realised that I was channeling. And I channeled Maitreya a lot, and I channeled Jesus and various angels. Jesus and Mary Magdalene were one of the first, and Archangel Michael. But then Maitreya came in a lot. And I've only just in the last year or so realised that Azrael is also always with me. I knew there was an angel with me always, and I knew it was a big golden angel, but now I know that it's Azrael. So it comes in different ways, and how it comes to you depends a lot on past lifetimes, on your soul's evolvement throughout the ages. This is why some people come into the world and they realise at like 8 years old that they're an ascended master. This is because they have done all that work in previous lifetimes. They have come into this lifetime just to be the ascended master and the teacher. But each one of us does have these past lifetimes. Each one of us does have the power of this soul within us. And each one of us can reach it. We can do this. And this is what Jophiel has been telling me for about a month. All this month I have had Jophiel with me, telling me about souls. So now we're going to ask that for a message, for a messenger to bring us a message. Whatever is for our highest good at that time is a good one to ask for, because then you get what you need. But you can ask for anything. You know, if you've got a headache, ask for a healing. Whatever it is that you want, ask for. You won't get it unless you ask for it. You've got to ask. It's the same as anything else in life.
Yeah. And I guess it's actually quite funny listening to you about sitting next to the fire, chatting with your friends, and the next thing you're channeling without knowing it. And I think that's the really quite mind-boggling part of it, is that, you know, we can just be going around our merry life and just like they can just pop in like that if we open the door, if we just step aside and allow them in. But they're always kind of on tap, always available, always interacting. Mm-hmm. They always seem to know what's going on with us. Which,
that was quite frightening, actually, Julia. That was quite scary. Yeah. I wasn't expecting it. I didn't know what it was. Had no teaching or understanding of these things. It took me several days to work out what was going on.
Yeah.
I didn't even know about channeling.
I have to admit, I think one time that really made an impression on me, and I've had friends like you who, you know, just having a cup of tea and then suddenly they'll just drop in these pearls of wisdom, and it's just the truth of it is just so, you can't deny it. You just know in your heart that that is the truth and there's no contesting it. But I know what you said about the clearing. I was really interested once. I was, I think it was a group meditation or one-on-one, and the person I was working with brought Mother Mary in, and she asked Mother Mary to clear entities around me, and I was going, huh, entities? What? I didn't know what they were at that time. And I was sort of scanning, and I couldn't feel anything, but she just said behind, and you know, and as I watched with my sort of inner eye, you know, it was really quite amazing, extraordinary what was that these parasites or entities had actually been attached to me without me ever being aware of them.
I think most people do have, from time to time, some people have a lot of attachments all the time. When I've been doing spiritual fairs and things, they come in to me people come to me especially for that. And often they're aware and it is worrying them and they don't know what to do with it. That's, it can be a worry, but yes, she asked Mother Mary, and Mother Mary is very good. She is the chief angel.
The boss.
She is the boss lady up there. And it's interesting that it is a boss lady. Yes, and yeah, Archangel Michael is there by her side, of course, and a lot of other beautiful archangels. I don't think we know the archangels enough and the angels as well as we should. I think because we've been so cut off for so long, we don't have that inner sight, that inner knowledge of the angels. It's sort of been lost to us. The ancient people used to talk about angels a lot, and they seem to know them and recognise them much more than we do today.
And I think that's also, you know, that's why I'm interested. I'm going to ask you when Archangel Jophiel connects with you, sort of like, how do you know that it's Jophiel, and how is Jophiel different from the others? Like, and that's why a lot of people are interested in you know, listening to you or finding out more, is so that they can compare. So when they're getting their own impressions, they kind of know they're on the right track.
Jophiel's got white blonde hair, very light being, like he's shining white, light blonde hair, very light blue eyes, like sky blue eyes. But I don't recognise him as a physical form, because angels don't always come to you as physical forms. Often they're just orbs. So I saw him very clearly today, and that's probably the clearest physical identity I've had of him.
He was making an impression.
It's more a feeling, more a feeling. I can always recognise Archangel Michael because he's been with me forever, and Jesus, of course, forever, and Mary Magdalene, and Kuan Yin, and Maitreya is often comes to me as old Chinese man leaning on a stick, very old Asian man on a stick with a huge long white beard, very thin white beard trailing right down, in blue. He's always in blue. And there's often gardens involved. I'm a bit of a gardener, so I don't know whether that plays into it or not. There's garden and water features, and yeah. And we sit down on a bench together and have a chat, which is really lovely. So I have a really good connection to him. But for many years, I've known that this big golden angel, Azrael, was with me. I've only ever seen Azrael up until quite recently as a golden orb. And she's actually in my aura photographs as a golden orb. So, yeah, that's very special. But she's very, very close.
Oh, beautiful. Just coming through as you're talking to us. It's gorgeous. Good to feel her. Jeff, what about you? How do you know that you're talking to an archangel when you're doing your own vision quests, dream time? You do talk to angels, don't you, Jeff?
Yeah, car parking one. Hey, I need some help. Who do I call for relationships?
Carolyn, that's addressed to you, not to me.
I'm just trying to work out who's with him, who we can ask.
There you go. Your field's being scanned.
Yeah.
Hey, yeah, no, because
Don't distract her.
Hey?
Don't distract her. She's scanning.
no,
There's a lovely lady with you who will help you with that. One of the ascended masters.
that'd be my mum.
One of the ascended
No,
masters.
it's an ascended master.
Oh,
Your
that's true.
mum might be an ascended master.
Hey?
Your mum might be an ascended master.
Yeah, I wouldn't put it past them. Hey,
Ask them for help. Ask the ascended masters for help.
hey, so last year I actually asked for the divine feminine to come in, Yeah.
Kuan Yin, love. Yeah.
What's going to happen
Kuan
there?
Yin is with you.
Hey?
Kuan Yin is with
Kuan
you.
Yin is with you and will help you with your relationships. Am I saying it wrong?
Yeah, no, you're onto it. Okay, so who does she pacify, me or the female?
Pacify.
Sounds like you both need pacifying. I don't think Carolyn needs to answer that, but I will let you if you want.
Oh, I thought I'm doing all
Are
right.
you both like got your fur up the wrong way around?
I get the hanging right thrown in, and I'm thinking, oh my God. Because I have to stay in the moment. I have to stay present. And then I feel like I'm an island, from Moana, the movie, and all of a sudden the waves keep coming down and the island breaks down, and all you got is this atoll where there's calmness in the center of the atoll,
But you're not alone, Jeff.
He said atoll, ATOLL. He didn't say anything else.
I think I'm
Wherever it is,
divine
not
message.
alone.
Hey, well, the divine message getting worn down. Oh my God.
Well, as long as you don't start being a rock, we'll be okay.
A rock. There you go. We will rock you. That's my favorite song. Hey, but no, all jokes aside, because I just have to have the comical side of life to sort of break the. Sometimes it can be a bit overwhelming. So, what could Kuan Yin? Oh, sorry, Kuan Yin. What would she be able to bring to myself? How would that help me as a masculine, divine, masculine, whatever you want to call us? How do we temper ourselves to be able to absorb that female presence coming in and relationships I'm talking about? Yeah.
She will come in to give you what it is that you are lacking, to help you with whatever you are lacking.
Okay.
So if you're too masculine and aggressive, she'll bring in the feminine to soften you.
Right.
I suspect that she's going to soften out some of those old masculine edges of you, Jeff.
Thank you, Carolyn. And what about who comes in for the female side of things then? Who does that?
Well, I can't read her. She's not here, and I don't know her.
Oh, okay. Yeah, we've got to ask for permission, isn't it? Otherwise, trespassing, isn't it?
That's right, yeah.
Okay.
But Kuan Yin, I'm sure, would help you both.
Okay. Well, yeah. Thank you very much for that.
And you can ask her to anyway. You can ask for whoever you want to help you with your relationship.
Cool.
You usually have. See, you talked about some of the masculine entities around you, but you didn't mention any feminine entities around you. You usually have both. You usually have one or two of both. You don't usually have just all male entities or just all female entities helping you behind the scenes. I'm talking about angels and ascended masters, etc. You usually have a bit of a balance to keep you balanced. Often the stronger of the entities that is with you will be the entity that you need most. So I've had a lot of Maitreya, Metatron, Jesus. I've had a lot of male entities with me. That's to counter my femininity. But I also have the female entities with me also, the more feminine, Gabrielle. And, well, angels are neither one or the other. But you generally feel or see them as male or female. And this is depending on, I believe, what you need in your life.
Okay, so obviously I'm just surrendering with ease and grace here to take on this conversation. So in our society, and both in the business world and the political world, with the masculine energy there, how do we bring that into balance? Because that seems like I'm just the micro of the macro. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The divine feminine is coming, and this will be the age of the mother. All that old masculine nastiness, I was going to say hard ass, but I don't know if that's appropriate, but all that hard old masculine energy, the wars, all that greed, the harder masculine part of life will be gone, and we will be ruled by women. And I mean not just the Divine Mother coming and helping us, I mean women will be more in power. There will be a lot more women in power through this feminine age. Men will still be there and they'll still be prominent. But now men are overpowering women in every aspect of life. In the future, the pendulum will swing the other way, and it will be mothers in power, but then it'll come back to an equilibrium where there is equal power. So we're going to go through from an age of men to an age of women, and then to an age of equality. That's what I've been told.
Yeah, we're watching our
Of course, we might be talking millions of years here.
No, you realise what you're saying.
I don't think it'll happen next week.
No, I mean, look, I think, to sort of bring in an aspect is obviously a lot of, we talk about the masculine, but, we have things like strength and warrior, and then emotional intelligence. And, since the 80s, we've already had people in what we would consider sort of male institutions starting to learn to communicate and use emotional intelligence, do things like active listening. UK ministers, MPs have been here and have been promoting mindfulness. So I think, there is already a change both within the feminine in terms of us, the feminine, standing up and being a bit more masculine within the feminine, balancing that within ourselves, and within the masculine also opening up to some of the what was previously considered a feminine trait, like dancing. And trying it out and embracing it. And, you know, we had ballet dancer Tim Turquoise on the show, and, you know, he's just gorgeous because he actually is perfectly balanced. And, you know, it's just a different energy when somebody is perfectly balanced between masculine and feminine, between rational and knowing, intuition and feeling, and, you know, doing. So I think it's something we can welcome and not be scared of. How's that, Jeff? You feeling better now?
I think you better tell the audience that my wife got invited to go dancing, and so I thought, oh yeah, I'll have a go at that. And so I thoroughly enjoy it. I'll tell you what, it's if anybody's done NLP or brain gym education or kinesiology, I mean, the male's got to lead. He's got to step up. You know, it's quite an interesting, subtle struggle here, but dynamics between the female who's controlling the household budget and all the other things, and all of a sudden she's got to let go and let the male lead. But at the same time, you know, the male's got to start interacting between left brain, right brain, front, back. And I find that quite exhilarating to come away from 7 to 10. There's a 20-minute break, but I find it really very thoroughly enjoyable, you know. Pretty brilliant.
And one of my favorite hymns at school was "I'm the Lord of the Dance," said he.
Oh, is that right? Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I remember that. It was beautiful.
I know, it's so uncharacteristic of the other ones, like Onward, Seldom, you know, Misery. And it's just like, dance, wherever you may be. And I'll go, yes.
I got to tell you, if any males are listening, I'm going to tell you now, get your shoes on, just really nice, and groom yourself well and go on down. And I think you'd be pleasantly surprised. I mean, there's no need to go to these den of inequities. What was that place you were talking about in Archangel West, you know? The pubs, the clubs, the brothels, the bodegas or whatever. Just go down to learn how to dance. I mean, you got to hold a lady. You know, you got to be graceful. You've got to start working with the energy of that female as it merges with you, and then you got to. It's quite earth-shattering for a fellow of my age who just did dancing at school, and that's been a long time before I've had a go. Bloody fantastic, yeah. I don't think we talked about archangels and talked about dancing, but I suppose it's all part and parcel of going live on a radio station, isn't it?
I found when I'm having a great time dancing or swimming or gardening, and I'm just in a really relaxed, happy place, I will feel the divine come into me. And it's just such a beautiful feeling. Did you feel that when you were dancing, Jeff? Did you feel that lovely energy coming through?
Last night was the pinnacle, because the male teacher, he's got his former girlfriend that's his dance partner, but then he's got 3 other ex-dancing girlfriends in the group. Yeah, and they get on really, really well. It's fantastic. They're all very skilled at different dances, and so there's 4 of them, and they come along, and it's like you're getting marked. But it's social dancing; it's not competitive. But last night, which is because I know I woke up in the morning and I could. That black and white imagery of dancing had come into play, and it was in my conscious awareness. So when we came dancing last night, the people come up normally and they say, they take over, and I say, oh, I got the thumbs up, yeah, really going well. And then at the very end, as we walked down, oh, Jeff, you went really, really well today. I said, yeah, I could feel it. It was really, really good. Yeah, so maybe I should invite archangels to come in and just help move that energy a bit more, isn't it? Does that make sense?
That's a great idea.
Yeah.
I am sure. And fairies love to dance. The angels weren't there with you, Jeff. The fairies would have been.
That's the word you wasn't looking for.
But yeah, 5'12" fairy, I tell you what. I'm all my mates, I can't tell them about that. Hey, the show's not about me tonight, by the way. Come on, Carolyn. Just taking the, yeah. I suppose that's the female energy coming in, the divine feminine.
Now, Julia was doing a really good job of keeping us on track. We started off finding the quiet place. We went within. We've reached our soul. We've talked to our angels. We've called them in, and we've asked them for a message. Now, when you get the message, you've got to have enough faith. Now, that's why I was telling you. That's why I was telling you about.
You better go and have a drink of water.
I was telling you about how strange it is when a big entity suddenly starts coming through you. It is it can be scary if you're not used to it. And I was scared the first time, or the first few times. But these scary, when you get over being scared and you can accept that this is divine, then you can accept what they're saying, that they are giving you what you need at that time. Now, it is important to do that clearing before you start and make sure that you have that good connection with the angels before you start, because you can be mistaken and invite in the wrong type of entities.
Okay,
it's very important to ask for only divine. Now, when you're stating your intention right up front, ask for only divine, and you will have only divine coming through you. A lot of people like to talk to their dearly departed, and this is nice in times of grief. But remember, just because they have passed over doesn't make them superior to what they were in life. They are superior, actually, because they've had all the nasty things removed from them. But they're no more evolved than they were when they passed over.
Okay.
So to say I am guided by my grandmother, which is a lovely lady, and I wouldn't mind that, but it's not the same as being guided by an ascended master or an angel. So I always ask for only divine. And if I'm working with people who are grieving, I will talk to their dearly departed, or I will talk to mine if I'm grieving, or if I wanted to get grandma's recipe or something. But for divine guidance, you must go to the divine. So only divine. And then you know you're sorted. You know you're getting it from the best source. It's coming through from the highest source, from the wisest source.
So I noticed one of the disciples of Jesus asked, how do you pray? So he said, I seek the kingdom of heaven and ask and go down that path. How do you do it?
Well, I suppose when you go up to the angelic realms, you have reached the kingdom of heaven, haven't you? Is that not the kingdom of heaven? I do go up and talk to the Divine Father himself. I do go up to the throne.
Do you?
And I still say the Lord's Prayer daily, at least daily, sometimes many times a day.
Well, I'll tell you what, my if I find he's not listening, I'll go and talk to Mum.
You get a different answer from Mum than Dad.
Well, yeah, that's right. I mean, what's it say? If you come into me as a child, you have the keys of the kingdom of heaven. So, you know, I come in as a child, be a bit cheeky, ask the questions. You got to come with innocence, isn't it? That's your intent, isn't it?
Yes, I think an absence of greed or self-advancement or those sort of things just come in innocence, like you say. not come in and ask for $1 million. You know, it's not what it's all about. Some people think it is, but I don't ever do that. I never ask. Very, very rarely do I ask for myself. Only that I can be of service and that I am following the right path and that sort of thing, or that I have everything I need to follow the right path.
Yeah.
And I think that's one of the reasons that, you know, in the past as kids or as teenagers, we might have tried to earnestly talk to angels and then not had a result and then sort of given up and said they don't exist. Because, you know, I think in certain cases they won't give us what we think we need.
Good call, Jill. Yeah.
Just the same as parents won't buy a young teenager a racing car. You know, they care for you the same as your parents would care for you. So they're not going to give you something that will harm you or something that will prevent you from learning the lessons that you need for this lifetime. The other half, the mother, is Sophia, light of creation, the first aeon that was created. You were talking about going to the mother instead of the father. The father won't give you what you want. You go to mum. Mum is Sophia, light of creation. Yeah.
Oh, well, you've got to look after the number one son, don't you?
So we have a question from one of the listeners, Monica Hanna. Could we ask you if should we ask the archangels to come in every day, or are they just with us?
They are just with you, but you should talk to them daily. If you can set aside the time to talk to them daily, you will find it very, very beneficial. Just ask them what you need for this day and thank them for being with you. And you'll get lots of blessings, lots and lots of blessings. If I've got a trip to do, I will ask for them to clear the way for me and bring me back safely. And I often get green lights for miles. You know, if I get a red light, I get a bit annoyed, you know. I shouldn't get any red lights, just all green lights, no traffic.
Well, I think it depends on what you like, Carolyn.
You know, and the parking space is right outside the shop.
Actually, we did a presentation last night to help the whales that had been beached and in Tasmania, and also to sort of intervene or support those who are in aged care facilities locked up in different countries. And, you know, as a facilitator, I have to admit I had really no idea how we were going to do it. So I just basically saw that the angels were lifting us up because we had the intent up to a realm where there were others that were doing that from all different levels, including the whale nations. And it was just like, oh, well, there's this assembly and we're just going to be part of it. And they know what they're doing. So then it was just following and being a part of it. So it's really useful, especially for those situations where you have no clue how it can be done, just to sort of team up with the angels and get them to take the lead, isn't it?
Yes, definitely, definitely. Especially when you can't deal with something. When there's something that comes up that I can't deal with, a relationship or something, it's usually relationships, isn't it? I hand it over to the angels. I say, can you fix this? And they'll often bring me that person I can't have the relationship with as a little child, and I can nurse them and nurture them as a little child until that relationship is fixed. So, yeah, they're very good with relationships, but anything at all. I know what you mean about that. Those whales stranded. It just tears your heart out, doesn't it? Because they're such innocent beings, you know. There's no malice or anything in them, but they're going to die such a painful, nasty death. And there's such beautiful things when they're flying free in the water. Just gorgeous.
We had them at Fraser Island, we were out in a little aluminium dinghy, about kilometre or so off the beach there. Just three of us in this little dinghy, and there's a big spray. Hello, that's a bit close for comfort. Oh, they're all very close for comfort. Bit like a multi-story car park full of bloody whales out there at Harvey Bay.
So they all came and checked her out.
Hey, I thought it'd be a cheeky bugger. I went to one of the pet warehouses and I bought one of those dog whistles that you can actually change the pitch. Yeah, so we'll blow on that.
Oh, that was what attracted them, you reckon?
Oh, I got some dolphins come through.
Oh.
Anyway, the Fraser Island is basically the maternity ward, isn't it? For all the young calves being born up there. Is that what you call them? Calves?
I don't know.
I think so.
Oh, it was a beautiful experience, but I don't know.
We'll ask the angels.
Yeah. Hey, okay, so we're talking about different ranks here. I get the feeling we've got angels and we've got archangels. So, what's the difference between the two structures there?
I see lots of different structures. I see lots of different entities. And I really don't think that there's so much of a hierarchy, because I see the little fairies right up with Jesus and the ascended masters. I see the little fairies around the throne. So there doesn't seem to be so much a hierarchy. I think they may have different functions, but given that they are omnipotent, surely they can all do anything. And I'm not sure that this structure is not a man-made thing. I don't really understand that at all, because I know they're all omnipotent. I know they can all do anything. They're all part of God. They're all part of the one.
And what you started off the show was also saying that we are as well. We have that divinity, with the spark of divinity within us through the soul. I tend to look at it more mathematically, like we're just a fraction of the one. And if you sort of keep on going up your common denominator tree, you'll finally end up back at the one. So, rather than reducing yourself exponentially, you can go the other way around and reconnect to the soul, reconnect to the divine source, and just sort of get closer and closer, more connected in.
So what you're saying is that there's a single cell organisms that's decided to self-replicate to experience itself.
Yeah, and then forgotten through all the replications. You sort of ended up in a drain pipe in a car park somewhere and going, why me? Why is this happening to me?
I saw that movie. God,
Well,
female was in a bloody hospital ward.
Was she? What was she saying?
No, that was quite fun.
I'm not sure about. No, I just made that up.
I know, but I saw the movies.
Okay.
I think Matt Damon was on that.
If you believe that you have the spark of the divinity within, and you said it, Julia, this is infinite, what is a fraction of infinity? Is that not infinite too?
Thank you.
Where do we begin and where do we end?
Exactly. It's all sort of just along just at one end or the other. It's all part of the same line.
So what are you saying is that I'm in you, two girls, and your two girls are inside me. Is that what you're saying?
We are all one. We are all one.
Hey,
We're all part of the big circle. I'm not sure about whether it's entangled the way that you described it, but yeah, we are opposite ends of the same line. So.
That's right.
like that Star Trek, we are the Borg, futile as resistance. Hey, it's good. So we've had you on 2.5 months ago, and people I spoke to were just shell-shocked with what transpired with you when you were 9 years old, and you had the angel come and appear before you and talk to you, and then you came across to your Rockhampton religious school and you explained to the nuns what had happened, and they basically put you into purgatory for a whole month, and it was your father who said, "Look, darling, I love you. I understand where you are, but you just got to keep quiet, otherwise they'll lock you up in a mental asylum." That played with so many people that I spoke to, that for you to meritoriously wait till you're in your 50s to go back and recover, if that's the right word, to take on board what happened to you when you were 9 years old, I think that's an amazing transformation. Temerity, can't put any other words into it. I mean, that's just, you think about from 9 years old to 50, you could have been doing something more profound in those lost years, isn't it? You know, so making up for it now.
And I'm not sure. I can never understand why they gave it to such a small child. I was such a small, helpless child. You know, if I'd been a boy child, maybe I don't know. But children at that time were just chattels, weren't they?
I guess they felt threatened. You know, when people react badly or like that with such force.
Such cruelty. They were
with
cruel.
such cruelty and unthinkingness. It's because they feel threatened, isn't it?
Yeah, not only
or they
threatened,
see within you a part that they deny within themselves.
well, they just put you down as a highly imaginative kid. Yeah.
But a highly imaginative kid shouldn't be locked up for 6 weeks and bashed. You know, that was, if I was just a highly imaginative child, that was pretty harsh.
Oh, for
punishment.
sure. For those nuns, I mean, they're following a book that you could actually say it's highly imaginary fairy tale story, isn't it, too?
They weren't nuns, they were just teachers.
Wow.
There was no nuns there.
Big
It was an Anglican school. They didn't have Anglican nuns there. It was an
Wow.
Anglican girls' school. They don't have nuns. Well, they do have nuns, but they're not teaching nuns like the Catholics do.
Hmm.
Oh, I see. Right.
So they were just lay teachers. They were just lay teachers, yeah.
So they didn't have any of that esoterical knowledge to gather you unto them and then hold you and then bring out the gift in you, because they would have been so, well, what's the word? They would have relished someone to be able to communicate like that, like those sisters over there. And
Yeah. Yeah, so I always knew that there was something. I always knew that there was something more that I had to do. And I always felt that. I always had that calling within me. I did have a calling once. I was at home alone and asleep, and my husband was asleep beside me. Well, I wasn't alone. I had my husband beside me. And I heard my father calling me. And I got up and looked. And that happened several times, several nights running, before I realised that it was the calling. And there's instances of this in the Bible where people have the calling and they get up and look for their father. I got up and looked for my father. He was in New South Wales and I was in Queensland. So it obviously wasn't him, but I was looking for him. I was looking for my father. And that sort of happened about the time I turned 50. So there was a lot of clues along the way as to what I should be doing. And even now, I'm not sure that I'm doing everything that I can do or that I should be doing. All I can do is relay the messages to the greatest of my ability to as many people as I can. That's all I can do. And the message now is, yes, awaken your soul, go within, connect to the divine. And they keep giving me reasons why you should do it. You should do it to enrich your life. You should do it to gain the wisdom that you need to be truly happy. You should do it to gain healing. Power, it is empowering. I can feel the power of the angels. Clarity. I have been so clear today. So yesterday I had the big clearing with JVL. He took me up and dumped me in this angelic pool that washes everything from you. And he said, now you are clear. And I was so clear, and I have been so clear, and I slept so well. So it affects your health, your mental well-being. It just brings so much to your life. You just expand. You become a much greater person. I had no idea that I could write or that I could speak, and I was quite a shy person. But now I know I can, and I have to, and I do, and I enjoy it now. But so you gain so much by connecting to your soul, to the divine. You can bring so much more into your life. If you're lonely and want a friend, by connecting to your angels, by connecting to the divine, you can ask for a friend. You can ask for someone to come in to help you, and they will be there. It is quite incredible the number of times that I've asked for help, and it's just been made out for me, just what I needed when I needed it. I know when I've introduced people to their souls and worked with them for a little while, they've gone on to do lovely things, do really beautiful things. People who were on drugs and in very bad relationships and about to leave home and homeless and in a really dreadful state. I remember one young lad coming in. He was homosexual. He had lots of piercings and tattoos in black leather, and he was just covered in demons. And he said, help me, please. And I can never turn anyone away. Put him down on the bed, worked on him for hours, removing demon after demon after demon, and cleansing and healing. And he just kept coming back every day. Now he's a nurse. So, yeah, it's just incredible to go from a druggie in such a dreadful state to becoming a nurse, working, responsible, and helping others now, doing spiritual work to help others. So there's countless times that this has happened where I've been able to introduce people to their soul, and then they've gone on to fulfill what they needed to fulfill in their life, to become a whole person, from being broken, isolated, in distress, to being a whole person again. It doesn't work every time. There have been times when I've done the work and the people have slipped back again, back to drugs, back to whatever it was they were doing that was wrong. You just have to accept that the time was not right for them, that maybe in this lifetime they won't improve their soul. So if you do good works and you speak to your angels daily and you follow the advice and you help people and you are there for people, you expand your soul. You grow your soul. You have more soul particles. I'm not sure how to put it. But if you do evil things and hurt people, your soul contracts. You lose particles until there is very little soul left. So those people who are doing good works on earth today, who are being selfless and helping wherever they can, their souls are expanding and they are ascending. Now, I heard another lady talking about ascension, and she was talking about how the chakras moved as you started to ascend. I think she said they all came together in your throat. I've done some work on this, and I believe eventually, before you ascend, your 7 chakras form the 7 sides of your Merkaba, and that goes out through your soul star as you ascend. So your 7, just around your heart somewhere that happens. It's a fascinating subject. If you can use a pendulum, you can ask where the position of your chakras are, or whoever you're working with, you can ask where they are at. And I've found that with a lot of people, especially those ones that I've been working with for many years, their chakras have moved. They are all coming into the centre. I saw one of my old students just recently, and he brought his beautiful new wife, and I was so excited to meet her. And she was on her spiritual path too. And their chakras were moving almost in unison. So it was really lovely to see.
Beautiful. Thanks for making the case for why it would be a really good idea to connect with the divine aspect of ourselves through the soul, and making the case for that, sharing what is possible. I'm glad that you brought up the examples of how entities can be cleared and how they can interfere with us, and how being disconnected can kind of make us, empty. So I guess the takeaway is, if we want to avoid being vampires, energy vampires for other people, we see to it that we connect to our own internal divine source through our soul, and we sort of unfold all that we can be, and that all that we want to be in that way. So while you were talking, Carolyn, Jeff, and for the listeners rather than the watchers, Carolyn has authored a book called Listen the Angels Speak, which I think is available on her website and on Amazon. And Carolyn Milne also teaches and does workshops and sends out emails. And she's also on Facebook under her name. So these are all methods that you can get in touch with her if you have any questions. So the Facebook handle is Listen the Angels Speak. So Carolyn, is there anything else you want to add tonight in terms of if people want to get in touch with you, how to do that?
No, I think if they go to listentheangelspeak.com.au, they will find all the instructions on how to find me. It's quite simple. And don't hesitate. I'm here for everybody. Don't turn anybody down ever.
Where are you? Where are you located?
I'm at Woombai on the Sunshine Coast.
Okay. Right.
Yeah, and you can come and see me here. Yes, definitely.
Okay, so for those people listening, because they've got people in New Zealand and overseas, so Woombai, nice little country community, just north of Brisbane, Sunshine Coast in Queensland.
Just south of Nambour. Yeah, there's 6 k's south of Nambour.
Yeah, by Chenrezig, aren't you? Chenrezig? At Udlo there?
Udlo, yeah.
Very good. Okay, so you mentioned the point. I just wanted to ask you, did you ever go and ask your archangels what program are you on? Why are you here?
Program? What does that mean?
Well, you're talking about, you ask all these different angels for different help and assistance and all that stuff, and you're not quite sure what you're supposed to be doing. Well, have you ever thought about putting your hand up and saying, excuse me, what's my job here? What am I supposed to be doing here? What do I come here to learn or teach, or what program am I on?
They give me different functions at different times. And just now it is this soul stuff. I've got to work on the soul and introducing everybody to their soul and getting it across how important it is, the soul thing. But they give me different messages at different times. I seem to work with one entity on one thing, and then they take me to another thing. I think my job here is to be a voice for the angels Not just the angels. I often work with ascended masters too. I did a lot of work with St. Francis of Assisi. I did a lot of work with Maitreya. I've written a whole book on Maitreya that I've never published, and Jesus as well. So I've got a few books there that I haven't published, and I've just been thinking about putting them out on Kindle so that the word gets out. It's no use me having them on the computer. I'm going to end up losing it or have a breakdown or something.
Mm. Oh, you just have to back it up, you know. Jesus saves, backs up. Hey, it's bloody brilliant. Anything else, mate?
No, I think that's
good. Well, I'll be getting Jophiel on the line now. There's no question about that.
Yeah.
I get Kuan Yin. My dancing partner has just sent me a little thing of she's got a big, huge 1.5 meter statue in her home saying, ha ha ha, I've got Kuan Yin here.
Yeah, it's funny when you meet with people and you are connected to them, you're often working with the same master. She's got the Kuan Yin in her house, probably because she's working with Kuan Yin too. So often people are connected in strange spiritual ways.
What do you say about that then, Julia?
I haven't met Jane, so I'm not saying anything. So anyway, dear listeners, thank you for joining us today, and Carolyn. And yes, I hope you've been encouraged to spend more time communicating with your angels and have a new mission in life to connect with your soul and embody that a little more. Carolyn, thank you very much for joining us tonight.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Julia and Jeff. That was so much fun.
I thought so too.
I just love coming on here. It's like a game. It's like I don't know. Love it.
There you go.
Thank you very much.
The males on the planet. Thank you very much.
Great. Thanks a lot for
There you go. Hey, bloody brilliant. Thank you very much. And we'll catch you on the flip side, as they say, isn't it? Yeah.
Thanks a lot, Carolyn.
Thank you, Julia. Loved it. Thank
Good
you.
night. We did
Bye-bye.
too. Thank you. Okay, bye.